Today we have Tim O'Neal, a professional golfer, and we want to congratulate him for his recent victory from July 13th and 14th at the APGA Pro Golf Tournament at Dubsdread in Orlando, Florida. Over that two-day event, you shot a 10 under par with 7 birdies, shooting 66 in round 1 and 64 in round 2 for a final score of 130. In both rounds, you always held the lead. How did it feel to win this tournament?
Well, it always feels good when you win. But I've been working really hard, leading up to this year getting started. And then, I was off to a pretty good start, and then COVID-19 hit. And that kind of put everything on the back burner, for like 2.5 months. So, I was still fortunately left, where I live in Georgia. We were still able to still play golf because the golf courses were still open. So, I was still playing pretty good once the tournament started back up. So, I was very pleased to get the win and to still keep my good play from going from earlier in the year.
Well, that sounds great. And we talk about not being affected by the pandemic and COVID-19. I guess golf is a game where I guess there's plenty of social distancing. Minus the spectators. Tell me what that was like. Were there any spectators there to even view the event, or was it closed?
Not really. No spectators. No, there weren't hardly many spectators at all. Just the golfers really that were playing in the golf tournament. Because we still have to be safe with everything. People don't really know what's going on with the virus and how it's spread or anything like that. So, for us, just golfers being able to play in competition and get a chance to compete, I was just happy with getting the chance to do that. Even if we didn't have spectators, you want them out there, but just being able to have a tournament was great in itself.
Oh yeah. Being active is highly important, and especially right now when we seem dormant. So it's a great thing. So when did you play your first professional tournament, and how did that turn out for you?
So 98, I turned pro at my I'd won a number of college tournaments and amateur tournaments. So after I left school, I turned pro in August, and so my very first tournament was fairly well. I shot 6 under the very first round. I remember like it was yesterday. Finished about middle of the pack. So yeah, that was a 98. So yeah, just getting started then, and fresh out, and not knowing where I was going with it. Looking back on that now, I was it's something that I've always knew that I wanted to do, especially when I was in college and in high school too. So, so far it's worked out pretty good.
No, but it sounds that way. It sounds like you are really enjoying yourself. You've been a professional for over 20 years now, so it sounds like this career is had a pretty successful journey up to this point.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, golf. Golf has its ups and downs. Golf. It's one of those sports where you only get out of it what you put in it. So, there's so many good golfers in the world that it definitely has its ups and downs. But so far I've been able to kind of hold my own. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Okay. But tell me, because you grew up in Savannah, Georgia, and how far is Savannah from Augusta, where the Masters are hosted?
I'm about 2 hours away from Augusta, I've only been to Augusta to the tournament once in 2013. I've had opportunities to go several times, but I was always in a tournament or doing something else. But in 2013, that was my first and only time I've gone to Augusta, and it was if anyone's never been to Augusta, You see it on TV. TV does not do it justice. You will have to see it in person. I'm not a guy that's really in awe of any golf course. You play nice courses or whatever, but when I went to Augusta, yeah, that was definitely different.
Wow. And TV doesn't do justice for most of us to get the opportunity to be there in person. And I definitely agree with you. And as you describe what Augusta looked like to you, it sounds like it definitely, had some profound impact on you. What was it like? What was it like for you growing up in Savannah and the community that you grew up in and your family? Like, how did they support you in terms of being a golfer and wanting to become a golfer?
Well, for me, both my parents played. So, my parents got me involved in golf when I was like 5 years old. So I grew up, they started me out playing on a par 3 course in Savannah. That's where, I pretty much got my feet wet on playing. And then as I, got older and started growing, then my dad always said he wasn't going to take me on a real golf course, a big golf course, until I was able to actually play. So, when I was 6, 7, 8, I primarily played on the par 3 course until I could really play. And then when I got, 9, 10 years old, then that's when I started going to the big golf course, and then started playing from the ladies' tees. And then as I got older and longer, then I, started moving back. So that's pretty much how I got started.
Okay. Now, and I see that you start competing with the Advocates Pro Golf Tour. Can you explain to us what is the Advocates Tour?
Well, the Advocates Tour was co-founded by Ken Bentley and and Adrian Stills. Adrian Stills, a former PGA Tour player. So they were just trying to provide opportunities for African American players to have a place to play golf. Tournaments. A lot of people don't know this. So when you want to play golf, if you're not playing the Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour, there's other tours to play, but it's super expensive. So Adrian and Mr. Bentley started this tour to kind of help African Americans kind of grow the game, to get more African Americans, playing professional golf that otherwise couldn't afford it. So that's pretty much how the tour started, and they've been doing a great job. The PGA Tour is involved with the Advocates now, and the tour has definitely grown from 2010 to now. They're definitely doing big things.
Oh, that sounds great. Do you have any sponsors right now while you're on tour?
No. I have, but currently not at the moment. So, which is hard. It's golf, especially if you travel to play. Like this last year, I went to Europe to get status over on the European tour. I came just a little bit short, but I have status on a smaller tour over in Europe. But it's super expensive to go over across the country. To go out of the country and play golf. So especially with the COVID-19 now, I'm definitely not going back over. So I'm just going to stay here in the States and definitely play here.
So who has been supportive of your professional golf career? How did you get the passion to keep going? Because most of the time, we find that most people, if we have big sponsors, that'll keep us going. So who's been the biggest supports for you?
Well, fortunate enough for me, so I have played. I have played some PGA Tour events, and I played the Korn Ferry Tour for a number of years, which the Korn Ferry Tour is just below the PGA Tour. So I've had sponsors, club sponsors and apparel sponsors and stuff like that before. I currently don't right now. And then I've also played on the PGA Tour Latin America Tour. I have had 3 wins down there in South America. So as far as the support, just from playing golf, really. So I've just been able to sustain on my own. It gets hard at times, but, and then some help here and there from people, from local people that has helped out. But as far as a main sponsor, I don't have that right now. And, a lot of guys are in the same boat. There's some guys that have sponsors, and there's some guys that don't. So it kind of works. That's kind of the same way with everyone.
Okay, and that's definitely understandable. And it almost seems similar to individuals that want to get into NASCAR racing, as they need sponsors to pretty much back what they're doing too as well. And some of them have to start off doing their own thing, and and I definitely get it and understand that concept. So that definitely. So it's like, if you're playing, when you're trying to make it, it's going to cost you about, anywhere from $60,000 to $70,000 a year, to really try to do it. Some guys can skim by here and there, but it's definitely an uphill battle if you don't have the financial backing. Yeah, it definitely sounds right, and that's what any form of business that we go into is the same. Always a big challenge.
Yes.
And preparing for competition, what is your weekly practice schedule like? What is it that you usually do to get yourself prepared for tournaments?
Well, so like this week, I'm in Iowa. I'm playing in the Iowa Open. This is the first time I've played golf in Iowa. I've been close to here. I played in Nebraska. So you kind of figure out the different kinds of grass that you're going to be playing on. In the South, we have mostly Bermuda, and I'm up north now, so it's bent grass, so it plays a little bit different. So what you do is, like, we get to tournaments a couple days early, and you play the course a few times, and you kind of make your adjustments as you play your practice rounds, with, how the grass reacts, or the greens, how they react when you're chipping and stuff like that. So that's pretty much a week-to-week thing, how you do from tournament to tournament, especially if you go from Florida to, Iowa, or if you go to California, it's even different out there. So pretty much when you play your practice rounds, you make your adjustments on the fly when you get to the course.
Okay. So what would you say is the greatest challenge when competing, and what are you doing to overcome those challenges?
Well, I mean, it's so as far as the challenges, I mean, I guess golf, you're always competing against yourself, really. I mean, golf's such a mental game. You just have to have a lot of patience out there. Sometimes you get off to a great start, and then you have to maintain, and sometimes you get off to a bad start, and you have to be really patient to fight your way back into the tournament. So I think it's more of a battle within yourself and how you're playing. Golf's one of those games where, 1 week you can be playing great, and 1 week you might be off a little bit, and it's not so good. So I think it's more of an internal mental game with yourself when you're playing versus just playing, other competitors, and you're just trying to really beat the golf course. So, for me, I think mainly it's more of a mental thing, to stand within yourself and knowing what you can and can't do on the golf course. I think, if you can simplify that and do that, I think that's usually my game plan into going to a tournament. Because any golfer knows, sometimes, you can play great and not shoot a good score, and sometimes you can kind of not play that well and still score pretty well. So golf is one of those games where it's hard to really get a beat on it.
And basically the advice that you're sharing now, is that something of a message that you can give to young golfers about hoping to become professional golfers?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games you have to, as you play junior golf or college golf, you kind of figure out what happens out there, when you get nervous, which way does my ball go when I get a little tight or a little anxious. So it's mainly knowing yourself. If the faster you can figure that out, I think the better golf you'll play.
Okay. And like most careers, we have journeys. And like you said, there are steps in as you make progress and you climb this ladder of success. And we saw last year in 2019, you had the honor of having Tiger Woods make an exciting announcement naming you as a recipient of the Charlie Sifford Memorial Exemption. Can you explain that to me and what happened after you got or received this exemption?
Well, yeah. So Charlie Sifford, he was one of the first African Americans to win the tournament out there. I think it was called the LA Open back then. And so now Tiger Woods has taken over that tournament. It's called the Genesis now. So he awards an exemption to a player deserving to play in the tournament. So it was great to receive that exemption in 2019, and it was just one of those things where it was one of those things where I've been wanting to play this tournament for a very long time, and it was a great honor to receive that exemption. I wish I would have played a little bit better in the tournament, but besides the point, hopefully I get a chance to play the tournament again, because that's another golf course too that TV doesn't do it justice, and it was an awesome venue.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's a great honor, to receive the award for one of the great players, and to also acknowledge the historical events that have taken place in terms of black golfers or African American golfers or golfers of color being involved in the sport of golf. I think that's amazing. So at the age of 46 right now, I'm 47. I'm actually, that was a misprint. I'm actually 47. I'll be 48 August 3rd. You'll be 48 August 3rd. So at the age of, well, I'm not gonna be not 48 yet. You're still 47. At the age
still 47.
At the age of 47, what's next for you in your personal life and in professional golf?
Well, I'm gonna keep grinding like I've been doing. And hopefully, stay healthy, and I have the opportunity to try to get on that Champions Tour. So that's one of the things. I'm not there yet, but if I'm still playing at a high level, I'm definitely going to give it a shot, and hopefully I have a great opportunity to get a chance.
Yeah. Well, hey, God bless you, and we wish you the best. Mr. Tim O'Neal, professional golfer, and we wish you the best. We want to definitely stay informed about what's going on with you and where you're playing and your next events at. Is there some way people can learn or obtain information to contact you, whether that be via social media or website?
Oh, definitely social media, or the APGA Tour. They have an Instagram, and I'm always on there, and you can always follow me on that.
Okay, that sounds great, and we appreciate you taking time out to do this interview, and we look forward and hope that we can have you back again and for further discussion.
Anytime, and thanks for having me.